guys, welcome back, welcome to my channel. I'm Morgan, and today I'm going to be talking about all my 5-star books I read in 2024. The beginning of this year, I swear I read so many 5-star books. I just went through all my books from this year and made a little list of all the 5-star ones. From January to May, started off so strong with reading, and then from June to December, it just was not good. There were barely any 5-star books, lots of low rating. I don't know what happened. I might do a brief overview of them a little bit, no spoilers at all. I'm not gonna go too in depth with them because honestly I read some of these a while ago and I don't remember them. Well, I remember them because they were 5-star books, but I don't remember specifics. So going back to January of 2024, I mean, if you've watched all my reading wrap-ups, then I'm sure you already heard me talk about all these books, but I thought it'd be fun to do one final of the whole year, all my 5 stars, to give you guys my favorite recommendations from this year. In January, I had 3. So the first one was A Thousand Boy Kisses by Tilly Cole. This book was adorable and heartbreaking and heartwarming. It was sad, funny. It made me feel so positive. It made me see life in such a different light. It was so cute. It's a romance, but there's lots of deep topics and stuff, so I would definitely maybe look at trigger warnings. And the main characters were Poppy and Rune. I thought they were both so cute and adorable. I loved Poppy. She had such a positive energy about her. And then Rune, he was just he seemed kind of more quiet, reserved, but he was just so cute. The whole book, it was great. Okay, the next 5-star book from January was Emma by Jane Austen. And oh my gosh, this book was so good. I'm gonna say that about every book. They're all so good. I know, I'm sorry. I think it was my first ever classic book that I read, besides maybe in school. I just loved it. It was kind of difficult to honestly understand some of the words. I did not know what some of it meant, but you really had to really focus when you were reading it. I feel like for me at least, I really had to read every single line and try to understand what they were saying. But the overall story was so just fun and witty, and I loved Emma. I loved all the characters. I forget honestly their names, but it was a really cute, it was a romance, but not super spicy or whatever you want to call it. It was a very cute old-timey romance. I loved the whole vibe of it. They'd host dinners and dances and stuff. I loved the whole setting and stuff, and it was just a fun book to read. Okay, the next book I read was Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. I feel this is such a popular book talk book, but I literally ate it up. I loved this book. It was so good. I loved Xander, and it's a fantasy romance book, and it's about these people who are trying to get their dragons to become riders. There's the riders, the scribe. The main character, she was planning to be a scribe, but then I think she ends up becoming a rider for some reason. I kind of forget the whole backstory, but I loved the romance in this book, and also it was very action-packed, good fantasy. Overall, I really enjoyed it, and there were so many good twists, and it was really good. So those are all the 5-star books I read in January. Moving on to February. First book that was a 5-star in February was A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J. Maas. And if you don't know, this is the 5th book in the ACOTAR series, A Court of Thorns and Roses. And this is the final book that's out as of right now. I don't know. I think another one's coming out. I might be wrong though. This one focused on 2 characters mainly, but you kind of got to see everyone too. I'm not gonna say which 2 characters just in case. I don't know if that's a spoiler, but I did really enjoy getting to see these 2 characters together and stuff, and I feel this one was very, 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 very heavy on the romance, and the spice very heavy on that. So, there's that. But I still just enjoyed the overall story of it. And it was very friendship focused, which I like, not just romance. It was also just found family type, but found friendships, and I just loved it. I mean, honestly, every book in the ACOTAR series for me, it's a 5-star. It just is. I'm obsessed. Okay, next book that was a 5-star was How to Make Friends with the Dark by Kathleen Glasgow. I love Kathleen Glasgow. I feel like her books are super important and like discuss very heavy topics, but I feel like the way she writes is just so good and like deep, and she really captures emotions very well. So all her books I just think are so good and they are very heavy. Definitely look up trigger warnings before reading them, but this one was really good. I think it's about this girl, her like mom, I think, is like a drug addict, and I think she like passes away, and then the daughter's like left to, I think she goes through a bunch of like foster care and stuff, maybe. I forget exactly what happens, but I know that her mom dies. Her name's Tiger, and then I forget if she goes like foster care or what, but she like finds people that are like going through similar things to her. Like she meets a lot of good people, even though something so tragic happened, is able to find other people that are like going through similar stuff and, you know, forms good friendships through that. I just thought it was a really cute book, but also very sad, emotional, all the things. Next book was The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. I feel like this is such a classic book. Like I don't even need to talk about it. I feel like everyone knows what The Hunger Games is pretty much, but in case you don't, it's basically just, I don't even know how to explain it. It's like a dystopian novel where there's all these different districts, and one person from each district, no, two people from each district get picked to fight in the Hunger Games, and the Hunger Games happens, I think it's every year, I don't even know. I think it's every year. And they fight until there's like one person left. I don't know what the point of it is even. I think it's just to like, I don't know. But it's a really good book, and I would definitely recommend. Like, there's a little bit of romance in there, but there's lots of action-packedness. Next book was Bear Town by Frederick Backman. Oh my gosh, literally such a good book. I love the way Frederick Backman writes. I think it's so just entertaining, and like he just knows how to articulate emotions and like realistic, like humans, how people make mistakes, how they grow from them. Like so good. And I love his characters. Like every single person, there's like a bunch of different people who we hear like their specific stories, and every single story was so interesting. Like there was never a time where we switched to a different person where I was like I don't want to read about them. Like I just loved all the different little things going on, and like he makes everything just connects in like such a cool way. It's about this like hockey town, and it's like all the drama with the whole, there's lots of drama. There are some heavy topics as well in this book, so definitely read the trigger warnings. Okay, next month, March. So in March I had 5 stars. First one was The Naturals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, and wow, this book was so good. Why is my hair doing that? So it's about these kids who end up working for the FBI because they all have like really special talent for like investigating. Yeah, this book was crazy though, like such a good twist, like so much stuff. Like I was not expecting the ending. It's like a mystery, and oh my gosh, like it's really, really good. Like one of my favorite mysteries for sure. Okay, then the next 5-star book was Binding 13 by Chloe Walsh. Absolute favorite. Like, oh my god, this book holds such a special place in my heart. Like I'm obsessed with this series. I haven't finished the series yet. I've only read the first 2, but like I cannot even describe like how good it is. If you like romance, you need to read it like ASAP. It's so good. Like I could talk about it forever, but it's like a high school romance. So there's these high schoolers, and it's about Shannon, who just moved to this new school because all her other schools she got like bullied at, so she had to keep switching schools. So she goes to this new school, and she is walking by, I don't want to spoil anything, so I'm not actually going to even talk about it, but she meets someone, and it's so good. Okay, next 5-star was Divine Rivals by I cannot speak. The next 5-star book was Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross, and this book was so cute. It's like a fantasy, but it's also romance, and this was such like a sweet romance. Like it was so cute. This one's not super like, there's not much spice in this one, but it's about Iris and Kit. That's his name. His name's Roman Kit, but they call him Kit. He was so sweet. Like, oh my god, I loved this book. Like it was just adorable. So, and the plot was really good as well. I didn't really explain what that one was about, but I really don't want to spoil it. Next book was The Teacher by Frida McFadden. This book was crazy. Like, actually craziest book I think I might have ever read. Like, oh my gosh. It was like a thriller mystery, like crazy. Oh my gosh. My jaw was on the floor at the end of this, and I really cannot recommend this enough. This is definitely one of my favorite mysteries as well. So it's about this school where there's this girl named Addie. Everyone, they just don't trust her because there's like this big scandal going on at the school, and like Addie's right at the center of it. And there was like a student-teacher affair, and everyone thinks it was Addie with this one teacher. Nobody really knows her true secrets and stuff, and like it's crazy, guys. Like, absolutely crazy. Moving on, April, I had 3 5 stars. First one was Us Against You by Frederick Backman. So this one's like the second book to Beartown, and again, just so good. Like, love the characters, love the writing, love the plot, love the setting, love it all. Then we had Eleanor and Park by Rainbow Rowell, and this was so cute. This is like a romance. It's like a high school romance. It's YA. So cute. Like, I just loved how like Eleanor and Park, like both of them were like so, it was like an unexpected romance. I loved how they both embraced just like their individuality and like did not care what everyone else thought about them. Like, they were just themselves, and they were so cute. Like, oh my god. Like, all the little things they did together. Like, I don't want to spoil anything, but so good. Last 5-star book of April was Everything is Fine by Vince Granada. This book was very heavy. It's a memoir, and it's very, very heavy. I would definitely read the trigger warnings. The writing was really good, and it brought attention to other people who I'm sure have kind of like dealt with similar things. So the memoir is written by Vince Granada, who is the brother of Tim, and Tim had schizophrenia, but nobody really knew it, and he ends up actually killing their mom. So Vince has to kind of like cope with losing his mother, but also trying not to like blame his brother because he knows his brother has like a mental illness. It's very, very, very tough read, but I thought it was very important, and you know, other people who might recognize signs of schizophrenia in like other people they know, you know, it could definitely help save people, and yeah, I definitely would recommend it. Okay, so then in May, I read 4 5-star books. First one was The Bodyguard by Catherine Senner. This was such a good romance, and honestly, it was like literally like had twists and like lots of twists in this book. It was like kind of crazy, but at the same time, like the romance was so cute, but there was like so much more like action-packedness than I would have expected. So this book was about this like famous guy who ends up like needing a bodyguard because he's been like getting a lot of threats and stuff, but he doesn't want to tell his family that he is a bodyguard. So the bodyguard's like this girl, and so they just pretend to be dating so that she can like live in the house with him and stuff and like protect him. But this book was really good. Like, I loved it. I love Catherine Senner's books. Like, she's become one of my absolute favorite authors. She like writes very funny, but also just like cute, and it was just a really good book. Okay, next 5-star book was Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo. This is actually the second book to Six of Crows, which Six of Crows I gave 4 stars, but then this one I gave 5 stars for some reason. I just really enjoyed this one even more than Six of Crows. I don't know what it was, but I just think this one was more action-packed. Like, I really enjoyed the plot, and like, yeah, the plot that was going on, I really enjoyed it, and I think there was really cute romance also sprinkled in it, and I don't know, I just like that one better than Six of Crows. Next book was The Disreputable History of Frankie Landau Banks by E. Lockhart. Yeah, this book was kind of just very like different. Like, it had a very different vibe to it, but I really enjoyed it. It's about like these people, I think it was like a boarding school or something like that. And I don't know, like Frankie she's like a feminist, and she goes to school with all these like boys who have this like weird like secret society type thing, and they're like playing all these like pranks, stuff like that, and she like wants to be part of it, but it's only for like the boys, so she doesn't think that's right, and then she like, I don't know, kind of like inserts herself into it somehow and becomes part of this group without anyone even knowing. But I think it was so good, and I loved the whole story. It was very enjoyable. Okay, last 5-star book for May was That's Not My Name by Megan Lally. This was a crazy mystery book as well. I was not expecting it at all. So this book is about this teen who wakes up with no memory of like who she is and how she got there. She's like on the side of the road. So she like goes to the police station, and then this like man arrives, and like he's like, oh my gosh, like I've been looking for my daughter, and he claims that this girl is his daughter. So he shows like her school ID, family photos, he has all the proof. So he takes her home with her, and at the same time there's this guy named Drew who's like, girlfriend Lola just disappeared, and so he's like trying to find her, and everyone's convinced that Drew like killed her. Yeah, so it's kind of like a dual POV thing, but it was really good, and it was very not what I was expecting at the end. Okay, next for June, I read Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. I loved all the like themes throughout this book. I feel like it was a very important book. I think it had a lot of good life lessons. So it's about these 4 daughters, Jo, Beth, Meg, and Amy, and they're living in New England during the Civil War, and their father just went off to fight in the war. We get to see their lives, all their individual like struggles. They each have like their own thing that they would like need to work on kind of. I loved how they all learned from like their mistakes. They like learned lessons. I just think all the characters seem so realistic, and I feel like I could relate to some of them. And it was just a very cute, heartwarming, cozy read. I loved it. So yeah, in June I only had Little Women. That was my only 5-star book. In July I did have 3 5-star books. The rest of the months after this, it's only 1 or none. July I had 3. It was You'd Be Home Now by Kathleen Glasgow. And again, like I said, I love Kathleen Glasgow's writing. She just like really captures things very well, I feel like, and writes with like very heavy emotions. Again, this was like super heavy, and I would definitely look up trigger warnings. It's about this girl whose brother is like a drug addict, and he just got sent to like rehab, I think. Maybe he just came back from rehab. Oh, I know what happened. So he gets in this like accident, and so he gets sent to rehab, and then I forget her name, but she has to go to school and like face everyone after what her brother did, and it kind of like affects her life, even though like she's not the one who actually got in this accident, and like someone ended up dying in the accident. So it's really hard for her to like go back to school and face everyone, and she kind of has to like deal with all that while at the same time her brother's not even around anymore, so it's very hard for her. Yeah, it's a very emotional book, but I think it was like very beautifully written. Okay, then we have Just Last Night by Mahari McFarland. I'm so sorry if I said that wrong. I thought this book was so well written, so like emotional, and very like the quotes in this book were very, very good. There's like this friend group of all these people who met back in like college, I think. They're still best friends. They like still go out to these like trivia nights together, but then something unexpected happens to one of them, and the rest of them are left to like deal with, you know, the emotions that come with what happened. And we learn a lot about like their past and like secrets and all this stuff. It's really good. Okay, last 5-star in July was The Rom-Commers by Catherine Senner. Again, like I said, I love Catherine Senner books. I love her writing. So like funny. Like this book was very like funny, but also cute, and like I just love the characters in her books. I feel like they're very likable. Yeah, the plot was also great. Like it's so good. It's about this guy who's like this famous writer, but he's never written any rom-coms, but he's like asked to write a rom-com, and so this girl reads it. She's also a writer, like trying to be a writer. She was like, oh wow, this is like not good, but she's like obsessed with this guy, the writer. So like her agent ends up telling her that she can go and help him write this rom-com script. So she like flies out to California only to find out that he never really wanted her to be there in the first place. It's very good. It's very cute. Then in August, I had 0 5-star books. In August, literally, I think all the books I read were like 1 and 2 stars. I don't know if I just was like going through something. Like I really don't know, but I just did not like any of the books I read, which, you know, that's fine. So September, the one and only 5-star book was Magnolia Parks by Jessica Hastings. This book was so good. Oh my god. It was such an anticipated read for me, and I'm so happy that I actually loved it, because I was like scared like I wasn't gonna like it after all this time waiting to read it. It was so good. It's a romance. but it's very toxic relationship. I know that it's not a good relationship, but I think that's like kind of the point of the book, almost, to kind of like just showcase like it's more for just entertainment. Like I was just eating it up, like the gossip, the drama. It's more so for that. Like I would never be in a relationship like this. It's not a good situation going on, but it was just fun to read about. Okay, then the one and only 5-star for October was The Sunshine Sisters by Jane Green. This book was very good. I loved all the different characters. It's about these 3 sisters who their mothers just found out she's like dying. They all grew up kind of really not liking their mother. She was not a great person at all. They all kind of dealt with it in their own different ways. So as they grew up, they all just like left home as soon as they could. So they kind of grew apart. But when the mother finds out she's dying, she tries to like almost like reunite them all, bring them back together. I thought it was a very beautiful story, very emotional for sure. I really did enjoy it though. It kind of gave me like Little Women vibes in a way, but like more modern and like not completely like Little Women, but like similar aspects with like the siblings and them each having their own struggles and like how they work through it. And then November, my only 5-star was Keeping 13 by Chloe Walsh, which is the second book to like Binding 13. Again, just obsessed with Johnny and Shannon. There's nothing more to say. And then last 5-star book. So actually December is not over. It's only December 14th. So there still could be more, but I wanted to film this video. So, you know, if there's more, you'll hear about it in my December reading wrap up. But so far, the only 5-star book I have is Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies by Heather Fawcett. And this book was so good. It was a fantasy and I loved the plot itself. I thought it was very enjoyable to read about. And it's about this girl who is creating this like encyclopedia of fairies, and she like goes to travel to these different places to learn more about different types of like fairies and the different ways of life they have. So she goes to this one place and her partner, I don't know what they really are. They're like both work for the same thing or something. I honestly don't know what their job is. Like they're just researcher type things. But he ends up coming, visiting her, and she like seems very annoyed by this because like she seems to find him kind of annoying. But then as the story progresses, you kind of can tell that like maybe there's something going on between these two, but like she kind of like acts like she doesn't like him, but at the same time you kind of feel like this is like underlying possible, you know, feelings going on. I didn't say anything. I don't want to spoil anything. Those are all my 5-star books of 2024 so far. And yeah, I just rambled on for 40 minutes, so not looking forward to editing this, but that's okay. I hope you enjoyed. This is Vlogmas Day 10, I believe. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next Vlogmas Day in 2 days. Peace out, Girl Scouts.